Hey, welcome back to Mind Your Money. I'm Callis, author and entrepreneur, and we're back for another week, you guys. And this week is all about planning. Do you have a plan for your money? Last week we talked about the numbers don't lie. We're going to piggyback off of that because we discussed fixed expenses, our non-discretionary costs and fixed costs. This week, we're going to talk about those variable costs as well as the planning when it comes to your money. Good evening. Thanks for joining me live. You guys, if you're catching this on the replay, just leave comments as you go by. But we're going to get started. So we talked about fixed expenses. The reasons why we got to talk about variable expenses or variable costs is because it's going to be important when it comes to planning. So what exactly is the variable cost? Those are those discretionary items, you guys. Those are those things that we don't have a defined amount. So those are generally those impulse buys. Those are those meals on the go. Those are just incidentals that might come up. It's that extra money that we have set aside. And a lot of times we just blow that money without having that dollar tied to something. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I calculate the variable expenses? Variable costs. How much did I actually spend on this discretionary income? And when you pull out the numbers, you guys, when you start to look at that numbers, this is when you're going to either track receipts for a week or up to a month, or if you want to pull out last month's bank statement or credit card statement, whichever way that you keep an accounting system for yourself or for your business. I want you to look and see where those discretionary dollars went to. Hey, Johanna. Hey, Gloria. Thanks for joining us live, love. So you're going to either calculate up all those receipts or you're going to look back at last month's dollars and where that money spent. There was a point in time, like last year, I believe it was. Hey, Lander. How you doing, Miss Lander? Thanks for joining us. There was a point in time I sat down and I calculated how much we were actually spending on food. So remember I told you guys last week that we have a fixed cost of, when it was a full household, it was about $800. So at the time, all 6 of us were in the home. Now we're down to 4 people. So our grocery bill is about $500 a month. But when I look back at discretionary, because I was trying to figure out where did my extra dollars go? Where did my spending money go? When I looked back, you guys, now mind you, we did have some additional people living at home, but we did do a lot of eating out during a 2-month window. Brace yourself, you guys. When we looked back at just the food bill, we went from $1,800 to $1,685 on food. Food alone, that was our groceries along with all the eating out that we were doing. And it was a shock when I saw that, just to think that we literally ate our money versus going somewhere, using that money set aside for a specific goal. So what I want you to do when you're looking at variable costs, or you find yourself at the end of the month with more bills than money, I want you to track and see where you're putting those variable where are those variable costs going, those discretionary dollars being sent and spent on. The reason why that's important, we're going to talk about planning. When it comes to our money, we have to have a plan. Some of us, when we decided to jump into entrepreneurship, we had this whole plan, whether it was a big deal where you had a business plan or you just planned out the date that I'm going to exit this job, I'm going to do this. You had an executable plan. The same thing goes with our money, you guys. We have our fixed costs and we have our discretionary costs. So non-discretionary, discretionary, or fixed and variable, you hear those terms flip back and forth, but they mean the same thing. Fixed are your mortgage, your utilities, your car note, your insurance, all those things. The variables are going to be all those extras that we spend on. We might want to treat ourselves to a spa visit this month. We might want to go out to 1 or 2 dinner visits this month with our spouse. We might want to have an extra date night. Whatever it is, that's that extra. But some of us are spending our money on the extra and not taking care of the fix. So that's what we're going to talk about today, making sure we have a plan for our dollars, you guys. Let me know in the comment, do you run on a budget? Do you run on a spending plan? It's all the same thing, you guys. Spending plan, a list, a budget. You'll see all these fancy terms. But do you tell your money where to go? That's what I want to know. Put yes in the comment. I'll put no in the comment. Don't be ashamed, because for a very long time, you guys, guess where my budget was? It was here. And that's why I didn't know where my money was going. That's why I wasn't meeting some of the goals that I was trying to go into. Hey, Jessica, thanks for joining. So let me know. Do you use a budget? Yes. No, let me know. We're going to talk about how we can work this budget out and how we can begin to at least begin to plan where our money is going, how we're going to tell our money, how we're going to spend it. So let's get started. Okay, Landa says no. Okay, are you using the brain method like I used to do? Johanna says great share. Let me know, you guys. How do you actually, how do you figure out what you're going to be spending? I know we know what some of our fixed costs, but how do we come to the end of the month? Let me know in the comment. And then we're going to get started, you guys. I hope you have your financial journal. Remember, at the beginning of this Mind Your Money series, we talked about a couple of things that we're going to need to do. We're going to learn some new habits this month, but most important, we needed that journal to kind of track some of the things that we're learning throughout this process. Okay, I see you. Yeah, that was the process I used for a very long time, but I found that it wasn't working, so I had to make some changes. And I hope some of the tips that you guys hear tonight, you can use it to execute it and begin to build a plan. Do not get afraid of this dreaded word, the budget. It's all about a plan, you guys. And most of you guys in my community are believers. And the Bible teaches us that we must have a vision and a plan. We have to give God something to work with. And the money is no different, you guys. We want to be able to be great stewards of everything that he puts in our hands. And it starts with money. We cannot change the kingdom without money, you guys. So we want to be able to show we put a plan to that money so he can teach us how to store it, how we can put this out into the kingdom and be able to expand the kingdom in that manner. So let's get started. When you come open up that journal, you guys, your financial journal, I want you to create a column. So you remember all the stuff that you did last week to figure out all your fixed costs. We're going to have a sheet of paper, one of those sheets of paper. We're going to have 3 columns on that. On the left column, I want you to list all your fixed expenses as well as the variable expenses that you spent last month, especially if it's something that you have a tendency to do month after month, but you don't want to list it as one of your fixed costs. Pay all the fixed first, not doing savings. Okay. It's not too late to start saving, you guys. It's not too late to start saving. We are living so much longer. Now is the perfect time to start planning, and now is the time to start saving. We're going to talk about that tonight as well. So on your journal, you have 3 columns. On the left-hand column, at the top, we're going to put fixed expenses. We're going to list all those things that we have, our mortgage, our utilities, our cable, home insurance, life insurance, all that good stuff is going to go at the top left. On the bottom half of that, that's when I want you to, guys, to list out your variable expenses. On the bottom, whether it's the movies, the vacation, or whatever it is, a spa visit, extra nail, extra pedicure, whatever that variable cost is, I want you to write that at the bottom left-hand corner. Then we're going to go to the second file, the second column on that sheet. What I want you to write at the top of it is actual. I want you to look at last month, because this month is not over. When you're looking at your last month bank statement, however you kept a record, whether you still have a copy of your check or you have the online payment receipt that shows what the actual was for your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, all of those fixed costs. I want you to put the actual number. The same goes for the variable costs. I want you to put down the actuals that you spent out on eating last month. I want you to put the actuals that you spent on getting your hair done. I want the actuals on getting those pedicure. Whatever that actual is, that's going to go in the second column next to both our fixed expenses as well as our variable expenses. And here's the third and final column. it's going to be the goal column. So when I say goal column, if your current rent, if some of us are still renting, if your current rent is $1,200, but you want to save for a home, you might need to reduce that rent cost to $1,000, which might require you to move prior to the home. So say you're already in your home and that mortgage is already at $1,200, but it has PMI, has an additional $200 payment on PMI. My goal is to get that down to $1,000. How do I get to that goal? I'm going to have to make some extra payments to bring down the principal amount so I can reduce the PMI, earn more equity in that property so I can reach my number. So my third column is going to be the goal column. And the goal column is what you want to actually achieve for each one of those amounts, whether it's fixed or variables, because some of us are spending way too much. Some of us are paying for cable and internet we need, you guys. We can't run away from internet. But some of us are paying for cable and all these additional things that we no longer need. And we might need to go look back at that utility or look back at that service and see how we can drive that cost down. So you have a goal column, even when it comes to our utilities, whether it comes to our mortgage, whatever it may be. Your goal for your mortgage might be $0. You might want to go from that $1,200 to $0. The planning and the saving we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But we have our paperwork, 3 columns. First column is going to be our fixed and variable. Our second column is going to be our actuals for each one of those items. And the third column is where we're going to put goals. Let me know, you guys, if you have a goal for your money, put hashtag goal in the comments for me. Let me know that you guys are still following, because I got plenty goals when it comes to this mortgage. I want to see that to 0. I am sick of this mortgage. I can't do anything about taxes. Too young to get a tax exemption for my property taxes, but I definitely can get rid of that principal and interest. So I'm looking forward to that as a future goal. Let's talk about, we're about to start talking about savings. I know you guys mentioned earlier that you don't quite have the savings yet, but let's talk about how do we do that. So we got all the information on it. We talked about building that plan. We have to know what the actuals are. We need to know what the goal is. So how do we reach that goal? Now, say your goal is, forget that. Let's move to the second one. Put a number 2 in the comments, you guys. So I've seen some goals in this. So some of you guys got goals when it comes to your money and some of these expenses, reducing the expenses, getting a better handle on our variable expenses. But here's what I believe, you guys. I do not believe that I should cut out my favorite teas. I don't think I should cut out my monthly massage visit. There are just some things I'm not willing to cut out. But that means I have to look at these variable expenses real hard, because there might be something else in that area that I'm willing to kick up and kick out so I can continue to keep those things that I really truly do enjoy. However, when I had a huge goal, when we decided to buy this home 8 years ago, I cut out all variable, you guys. It literally was, I need to have money for closing and my initial down payment. That means that variables went completely out the window. And that was something I was willing to do for 8 months. So you have to know that. And that's why we started with that plan, knowing actuals, when we're talking about goals. Here's the next goal that everyone should have, is you've got to have an emergency fund. You guys, I'm 42 years old. I was 40 years old before I really had an emergency fund. I was 40. I'm 42. That's 2 years. The reason why I created the emergency goal is because I knew I was leaving my job. Johanna's on here and she can vouch for that. We had a discussion 2 years ago. I'm like, look, I'm leaving this job December 31st, 2019. I'm out of here. I ended up staying for 30 days longer because I stayed for one of my coworkers that we became friends, and she had needed to take a leave. So I stayed for that extra month. But my goal was, I'm out. I said, I can help her with this. So December 31st, 2019, I was out of there. But I knew I had to set up a plan prior to that. And that's where my emergency fund came in. I had to drive down some student loan debts because I just didn't feel comfortable leaving with such a huge bill, knowing that my stable income from my side was going to still be there. And I said, okay, I need to make a plan. So emergency fund came in 3 to 6 months, you guys. You guys hear all the experts talking about it. This is nothing new. 3 to 6 months to set aside. That's going to come in handy because the day will come where they're going to either issue the pink slip or you giving them a pink slip. You're going to come to the point where you're ready to make a shift, or you're considering, you've already set a goal that you want to walk away, but you need to have a cushion until business begins to pick up, if business is your thing. Or say you want to take 6 months away from a job. You just need the time. You need to be able to have 6 months to cover all your bills. That's why these fixed expenses and variable expenses were important. You need to know what that bottom number is. So that bottom number for us was $6,500 a month. $6,500 a month is what we need across the board to cover mortgage, kids, all of that. I recently created an emergency fund, and it feels so powerful. It's so empowering, Johanna, to make that shift. Because it's like, you know what? I have this goal. I know I can do it, and it's important enough for me. And I want to have some type of cushion should I decide to make a shift, or if they decide for me. So fast forward, you guys. Here came March 2020. I left my job. I'm like, boom, we good. I'm going to come on in and work this business full time. That's in my safety business, you guys. Full time. I'm like, okay, I'm going. I'm good. My husband got it. He's our breadwinner anyway. It doesn't matter. We're going to lose this income. Guess what happened? COVID hit. And my breadwinner was out of a job. March 30th of 2020. 3 months later, guess what we had? We had an emergency fund. There is no way we would have survived without an emergency fund. You got 3 to 6 months. I just told y'all what our monthly expenses are. $6,500. $6,500 times 6. That's how much we had stored in an emergency fund. But we stored it with the intention in case we needed it, because my income was now gone. We didn't know that both incomes were going to be gone, and we didn't know that our business was going to be affected. We couldn't have large gatherings. We couldn't have large classrooms anymore. That was gone. If it wasn't for the emergency fund, unemployment wouldn't have done it, you guys. My husband literally got like a 10% of what, let me not exaggerate. He got about 25% of what he was actually bringing home in unemployment. We would be homeless right now if it was up to unemployment. The emergency fund was our security blanket. So you guys, if you do not have an emergency fund at the moment, that is your number one priority. Get at least 1 month in there. Can we get 1 month? Then after we get 1 month, let's get 2 months. After 2 months, let's get 3 months. Our goal is to get 6 months. 6 months is what it is. So now we have 6 months. He's actually been off of work for 7 months, you guys. 7 months. We have tapped our emergency fund. But guess what? We still had a little bit of unemployment that was coming in, so that was set aside. But our emergency fund is what covered us through this period. Of course, he's looking for work. Of course, we're still pursuing our business. But we did not have to stress. I'm not sitting there worrying about where the next meal coming from. I'm not fretting, Faith was here. Faith was here because Faith told me to get started on this emergency fund. ER fund is it's a priority. Priority. So if you don't leave with nothing else from this video, I want you to start with 10% of your income needs to be going towards a emergency fund. Now, when it comes to your emergency fund, this needs to be in a liquid account. So what I mean by liquid, I'm talking about something that's easily accessible. You can actually go to a savings or a checking or a money market. Your emergency fund is not your 401k, you guys. Did you hear me? Because there's a process if you need to borrow off of your 401k. And I just don't like the idea of borrowing from my retirement. So you need that in a liquid fund. I use Ally Bank. It's an online bank, something that's an immediate transfer. I can Zelle it to one of my primary accounts. It's boom. It's a little small interest, but I'm not there for the interest. I'm there to have the funds set aside because it is a priority. Put hashtag priority, guys. We need to have that emergency fund. 6 months is the ideal, but 1 month is what we need to at least get started. I want to be able to see going up in this group. Guess what? Emergency fund was a priority, and I made it a priority on today, October 19th, 2020. If you guys are watching this in the future, guess what? It was recorded on October 19th, 2020, and those individuals watching it live, they got it and they got set up, you guys. So here's number 3. We talked about planning. We talked about saving, emergency fund, priorities. I see you guys. I want you guys to start making good decisions. Okay? We've got a plan. We've got our savings jump started, right? Now we want to make good decisions when it comes to that. What do I mean by making good decisions? This is when debt elimination starts to come in, and we'll talk about that further on. You remember I shared with you guys a few moments ago that when I made the decision 2 years ago, I knew I was going to have to drive down some debt. I was $40,000 in student loan debt, and I was able to drive that down to about half of it when I made this decision to leave. So once we have a plan, once we have our savings set, then we want to begin to prioritize our goals and our dreams. And this is when it comes in and we start to decide, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to be searching out another job because my goals will not be met with this current income, or I might need to be able to pick up a side gig. I might need to freelance some of my trades, my skills. You know, everybody can be a consultant. At the end of the day, you got something that somebody will pay you for. I truly believe that. You don't necessarily have to have products and all that behind us. You don't necessarily have the tangible thing, but you have some skills that somebody is willing to pay you for. And you might be needing to outsource your skills. After you know what your actuals are, once you know what your goals are, once you set your emergency fund in place, now it's time to begin to set some priorities on what we want to do. But we've got to eliminate debt, you guys. Debt is such a anchor to our goals and dreams. Because a lot of us show up each and every day because we have bills. Now, we're going to always have bills. There's always going to be taxes, right? There's always going to be bills. But some of these things are in excess of what we really need to carry on. And so we make excuses for our future based on our debt. Absolutely. Debt is the devil. It really is. You know, I still have debt. You know, this mortgage is debt. And I want to see it gone. So it's one of my goals. So what do? I've set priorities. I have a business, right? I have an active business that was highly affected by the pandemic. But I also have a passive business. It's my fun business. Avon is my fun business, you guys. It's something that I make money in my sleep. So it's okay to have an active and a passive. So your job might be your active income. What's your passive, y'all? Let me know. Let me know in the comment. What's your passive? Some of you guys are authors. Some of you guys are speakers. Some of you guys have a product you sell online. Let me know what it is that you do for passive income, because you need an active and you need a passive. Student loans girl, them student loans. Man, I remember the first time I went to college, I cash flowed my first degree. So I have a degree in real estate, you guys. And lo and behold, I went through some life crisis. And I felt I needed to go back and change careers and change shifts. That's when I wasn't really tapping into what the Spirit told me to do. I just decided I was going to make some decisions because I didn't like my current situation. And I thought healthcare was a move for me. So I went back to school and I have a degree in ultrasound. I ain't worked in it a day, y'all. Ain't worked in it. Debt doesn't let us move forward. Absolutely. And that particular degree cost me $40,000. I earned some relationships out of it. I got some great friends and I have some great knowledge. I can wave an ultrasound wand like no other. I can scan abdomens, scrotums, thyroids, Venus. I can do it all, you guys, but that's not my calling, you know, and it cost me. It cost me with student loans and I don't regret it. Because like I said, I got 2 beautiful relationships. I have 2 long life friends that I got out of that, but I learned some things about myself in the process. And I shouldn't be weighing myself against what other people are doing. I did that at age 33. I was looking at what everybody else was doing, what my friends was doing, and how much my friends was making. I'm like, look, I got to make 80 grand because this ain't cutting it where I'm at. And I came out of something that I really love, chasing money, because I had no plan. I was doing the brain method. I had no idea where my money was going. I had no emergency fund. I had no student loans at the time, but I had a mortgage. Just getting back to insurance. Okay. So that's what you do passively, Miss Lander. Let me know. Because I know if you have a website, some people can go on there, get quotes and all that. You can even do it. You know what? Matter of fact, I did my business insurance online without even speaking to somebody because I already knew what I wanted. I had it before with a different provider. I went in there, boom, 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 right there passively. They made money and I got what I want. So I want to know if your insurance is something that you have set up for on a passive basis. You guys, I hope you enjoyed it. This was great tonight. It's important that we all have a plan for our money. It starts with writing it down. Awesome. I might need to get you in here. What type of insurance do you offer? Because I believe in life insurance, especially as an entrepreneur. I don't have those options through a job anymore. So of course, let me know, because for my small business owners on here, you need to be carrying some type of insurance. And if you have type of, our particular, my active business, it requires me to have business insurance, because I deal with construction companies and different contractors, and sometimes I go to their sites and things like that. So let me know what it is, because we might have Miss Lander, if she's up to it, to do a be a guest speaker for us in the group, because we're talking about money. And guess what? Insurance is money, y'all. Everybody need insurance. Everybody in insurance. So Miss Lander, DM me and let me know if you would be okay with sharing on one of our Mind Your Monies, because I do have insurance coming up in a couple of weeks. I'd love to know if you can share that with us and give us some insight, and possibly, have some people reach out to you on that for insurance. So you guys, it was Mind Your Money. We're here in our Facebook community, Pearls and Purpose. If you have anyone that you feel that's going to find value in this community, you guys, go ahead and invite them over. We do this every Monday evening, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Love this hookup. Thank you, love. Love, love, love. Life, health, Medicare, Medicaid. We're going to have you back in here. If it's okay with you, DM me and let me know if that is okay for you to share with our ladies here in the community. You guys, thank you again for joining us and interacting. I love when we have interaction. We can answer questions right here on live, but I'll see you back here next week, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Mind Your Money. Bye now.